Every now and again, when you're working with these strange, frustrating, wonderful, frightening machines, you get moments of genuine surprise and delight when they do something unbidden that you just weren't expecting. And yesterday, when I was working on the canvas to display these build stream and build pod videos that I'm making for you of my journey of building, this happened because the very first version, which by the way was absolutely terrible, don't judge me, it's all Fable's fault. Fable did this. It Rickrolled me. And, it's not like you expect your Apple Mac or like your synthesizer to Rickroll you. And when it happens, I genuinely, I laughed out loud. And when it happens, it's almost you look all around and you go, am I actually in a science fiction episode or something? Now, so that was quite delightful. That was quite a surprise. But I have to be honest, if you listened to or watched the build stream episode yesterday, you will notice that I was quite excited about how cool it was going to be and something you've never seen before. And this was the first version. So we've got a lot of work to do, Fable. We've got a lot of things that we need to work on, which it's now doing in the background. It got it. And, what's interesting about Fable is it's quite contradictory, which makes it seem sometimes like quite it feels more, and I want to be careful about what I'm saying here, please don't misunderstand me. It feels more human than any other model. So, a little unbidden bit of humor like that, it felt more kind of, as I said, it felt more like a person. I don't think it is a person, don't worry about that, but it felt more like that. And there are other things. It's got this kind of, it's a little bit haughty. It's got a little bit of pride. It's sort of, it can be frustrating in that sense. And also, one of the really frustrating things about Fable that I can't seem to get beyond at the moment is that it will all of a sudden make up a shorthand, a jargony shorthand for something you've been talking about a long time. Not tell you that it has done that, not explain that that's what it's done that it's done that, and then ask you to make a decision about this, insert its own made up shorthand. And you're like, what are you talking about? What is this weird way of describing this thing? And it does it over and over again. And I think it's one of those things that when a new model comes along, and it's a kind of big leap, which Fable definitely is from Opus. So when a new model comes along, I've noticed there's this moment where you're like, oh my God, it's absolutely incredible. It's the most amazing thing that, it solved all my problems. Everything's so much easier. Oh, yes. And you get this kind of period. And it was a bit weird with Fable, obviously, because it was taken away and then it was brought back. And so you get this period of time where you think it's amazing. And then the more that you use it, you suddenly start to, you gradually start to see its little ticks and foibles, which start to, because you're, getting used to it and starting to notice where its edges are, where the sort of, maybe edges is the wrong word, where its spikes are, because all intelligences, humans and AIs, are extremely jagged. And we all know human beings who are incredibly brilliant in certain areas and utterly useless in others. In fact, I know one very, very well because you're looking at him right now. I see him in the mirror every day. So we're absolutely, who are great. We're all like that. We're great at certain things and terrible about others. And so when you're building, you're interacting with this entity, with this intelligence, over and over again. And at first, the difference, the change, the leap in what it can do and what you can do with it is so surprising and so amazing that and also you've not noticed those jagged kind of chasms, the things it's terrible at, that you kind of, you're skipping around going, oh my God, I can do anything, which is kind of true. You can do anything. Particularly now, it's amazing. It's really amazing what you can do. But at the same time, you're not noticing the ticks and the foibles that make it hard to work with. And so you get this sort of pit of despair. So it's like, oh my God, this is amazing. And then a pit of despair. And I've noticed online that a lot of people, even me included, it's hard to actually fight this. You assume that it's been nerfed. Yeah, it's almost like you ascribe it to some kind of thing where it's been nerfed. Now, I'm sure there is an element of either Anthropic having to, or the model labs having to manage their servers. So I'm sure there must be that. I can't imagine there isn't. Or, when things are really, really tight, when too many people are trying to access it, that there might be some, there's probably going to be some impact there. So either conscious or just emergent sort of nerfing that is going on. There must be some aspect there. But actually, my belief, because I sort of notice exactly where the chasms are, the intelligence chasms are, so not where it's brilliant, but where it's terrible. It's actually equally becoming used to those foibles or noticing those foibles and those ticks becoming more annoying because you have to constantly deal with them. And it's like, oh, it's this again. Oh, it's this again. Oh, it's this again. And it's just how the model has been trained and where those chasms are that become increasingly frustrating. I mean, I live in Australia, which is actually a very lucky place to live in a sense. In other ways, not in terms of working with machines, in that pretty much the whole of the time that I'm awake is it's not a peak time for AI. Pretty much the whole of my day is not peak time, which probably means I get a better experience in general. And I still notice, it's like I still notice these huge chasms, even in a model like Fable, which leads me to guess that it is actually, when people go, oh no, this model is getting worse. No, what it is that you are learning more about the foibles, the ticks, the chasms in that model's intelligence. Because, all of these things can be true. Maybe sometimes an AI, a lab has to turn down the amount of processing or something. I don't know how it works. Turn down the processing in order to serve the number of people who are trying to access it. Sometimes there are too many people trying to access it. And you are learning what is bad, where the edges are, where the spiky edges, the spiky, pointy and deep chasms are in a model's intelligence. Talking of which, I better get back now to building this canvas. Enough of the Rick Astley and much more of actually trying to sort out this absolute pig's ear of an MVP that Fable came up with yesterday. So with all that said, I will see you again tomorrow and onwards and upwards.